Hi everyone, my name's Lee from Hoover Public Library, and today we're going to start working on our project Knitting in the Round, and we're going to make a wrist warmer just like this. So the way I begin is I have my yarn and my double pointed needles. It should have come in your kit. Mine are slightly different. Mine are out of bamboo, but they're the same size. We're going to start by casting on. So, and on my first needle, I'm going to cast on 11 stitches. My second needle, I'm going to cast on 12. You can see as I switched from the first needle to the second needle, kept it fairly tight between the 11th stitch I cast on and that 12th one I cast on. Alright, last needle. I'm going to cast on again. I'm going to cast on 11 on this one. Putting an extra stitch on the first and the third. And you'll see why in a moment. This is going to make the cuff, the bottom cuff of the wrist warmer. You can see I got a little twisted up there. Got an extra loop, so I'm just going to ease it on out. It's okay to make mistakes when you're knitting. You learn a lot by fixing them. So I eased it on out, so now I've got my first stitch on there. Get it back lined up. Eight, 9, 10, 11. Great. Now, being very careful not to get anybody twisted at any of the connecting points between the three needles, I'm now going to begin knitting in the round. All right, and to build this cuff here at the bottom, you can see I am alternating knitting and purling. So my first stitch, I'm actually going to knit two together. I'm going to pull I'm going to pull this last stitch off of the last needle, the third needle, and I'm going to knit it together with the first stitch where I'm feeding my yarn in on that first needle. And the reason why I'm doing this is if you've ever looked at a cuff and seen where there's a little divot, a little empty space where it's been joined in the round, that's because if you don't knit two together to start, when you're joining the knitting, it'll leave that little divot. So it's just a nice little extra touch. You don't have to do this if you're not comfortable. It's okay, you don't have to. Nice thing about knitting is you just sort of do what you like. It's your project. But I think it just adds a little nice touch. So I'm going to catch very carefully. Try not to drop it. Right. Try not to drop it. There we go. Alright, got it transferred on. I'm going to move needle 3 back up. And now get my yarn lined up there where it's behind it. It's toughest when you start, but that's okay. And got them all lined up. You can see they're already, right? I've got, hard to show you, but I've got 2 lined up, ready to go. I'm going to knit those 2 together. Alrighty. Right. And then I'm going to again knit 2 together because I want to end up with 10 on my first needle. There we go. Nicely done. Alrighty. And now I can knit 1. So I've got 2 in knit. Now I'm ready to switch and do 2 in purl. Knit, 2 in purl, and now 2 in knit. That's it for needle 1. Switch it around. I'm going to do my needle that should have 12 on it. So I'm going to start with 2 in purl. So I'm alternating knitting and purling all the way around. And now knit. Purl. Knit. And now 2 in purl. I'm going to finish this needle up with 2 in knit. Back around, get ready for 2 in purl. to a knit. Now 2 in purl. Then 2 in knit. And 2 in purl. Now then, we're ready to go into needle 1. Now you notice we've got a little bit of extra yarn right here, so it's kind of loose. It's okay. It will tighten up as you build this cuff. You know, this one started off just as loose, and you can see it's evened up as the tension of the yarn brings everything together. It's okay, and as you wear garments that you've knitted, the tension will redistribute and it'll get it even better balanced between the stitches. That's why when you look at an older knitted garment, you're like, wow, everything's so very even. That's not because they were better knitters back in the day. It's because as you wear garments that are knitted, the tension between the stitches redistributes and the stitches get closer to each other. So it's why you can look at something that's very old that's knitted and it's like, man, this looks perfect. Yeah, it was worn a lot. It's okay. So I'm going to keep doing this, alternating knitting and purling all the way around, and I'm building a cuff, and you can build it within reason as long as you would like it to be. I'm going to do it the way I made this pattern. I'm going to do it for 12 rounds, but you know, you might stop before then, or you know, if you wanted a little longer, that's okay. We've included enough yarn that you can size things out as you feel more comfortable. It's not an infinite amount of yarn. It's, you know, 75 grams, but it's enough to where you can build it a little bit bigger if you need to, or if you want to make it smaller and have a little left over, that's okay as well. So when we come back, I'm going to have finished the cuff, and I'll be transitioning to the part that'll cover your hand. But start with knitting, then purling, 2 stitches, 2 stitches, all the way around for 10 or 12 times around to get it to the length you would like.